Let's do it.
Awesome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brave Storytime. My name is Lisa Karasek. I am the moderator for Brave Healer Productions Brave Storytime. And with me today is Thais Harris. Thais Harris is one of our authors, and today she's going to be reading her chapter, which is titled No More Cringing in the Mirror, What Skin Cancer Taught Me About Self-Love. And she's going to be reading from the book, the chapter she wrote in the book, The Life-Changing Power of Self-Love. So, Thais, how did you come to be in this book?
I knew Tina Green, who's our lead author, and just an amazing person. I met her through first to Bowman College, where I both studied nutrition and then became a faculty member and taught therapeutic nutrition for a few years. And then Tina and I also crossed paths at Ceres Community Project, which I'll be mentioning in the chapter. It's an organization that provides meals to people facing a health crisis. So at the time we were there, the majority of people were receiving meals because they were in cancer treatment. And so Tina and I became friends then and continued our friendship throughout, and hope to continue for a long time. But she thought of me when she was putting this book together and coming up with her roster of authors. She contacted me and immediately was like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. Yes. And I had my, questions and reservations, and we kept talking about it, but very clear was a yes, that I wanted to be part of this book.
Beautiful. I love those kinds of relationships when you know they're meant to be for a purpose. Beautiful.
Yes.
Why did you want to write this chapter?
So it's interesting too, with the book, as a holistic nutritionist, a lot of what I do involves self-love and helping my clients really connect with that. And so I hadn't yet claimed this notion of like really putting the self-love at the forefront of what I do. It was always like a little piece that I would sneak in there. And the book allowed me to do that. And so when I was thinking about the theme and what really helped me see self-love as a practice, not just this like, oh, of course I love myself. Well, like, no, like how do you show that you love yourself day to day? Like what actions, how do you connect with that? Because sometimes we're so separate from it, or as a lot of this mirror work can bring up these feelings of like disgust or ugh, like if we're just even looking at ourselves in the mirror and cringing a little can be a little microaggression, right? And so working with that as a practice came up because I had this cancerous mole that grew right in the middle of my face. So I could not see it. Like it was there. And I saw it every time I caught a glimpse in the mirror, every time a photo of me was taken. And so it just became this little teacher, this little reminder of like, how do you love yourself regardless of what's happening sort of physically or visually? And it felt like the right way to be part of this book by sharing how this practice came to be for me. Lisa, you're muted.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute myself and my screen disappeared. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Hold on, where'd you go? Sorry about that. Okay, so I think you may have just answered my last question, but that's okay if you want to overlap a little or add more. So my final question before you read is, how did it feel writing your chapter?
It felt transformative in some ways, because this is the first time outside of my husband and a best friend that I really share all of what happened and what I was thinking about when things were happening, right? It's like there's the stuff we see that's on the surface, and then there's stuff that goes much deeper. And I feel like I got to access, I think, some of the grief and other things that were happening in my life when that sort of expression of it came up as this cancerous mole. And so sharing that was, when I say transformative, it was just this notion of like really putting it out there and letting people in on the fact that, I certainly don't have it all figured out, even though I help people feel better and heal in certain ways, like to support health. That there are a lot of things that I still struggle with, and that I definitely had the moments when I would look at myself and only see the fear and the negative and the ugly thing. And so I just feel more empowered and authentic. That was the transformation that, like, yeah, it's great to talk about these things openly. And as I read all the other chapters in the book, seeing how everybody really shared from that place too, of like, how to connect with something that helps you feel better, more alive, that helps your spirit really kind of live, in its full glory, and at the same time be human and have a ton of doubts and questions and not know what to do, right? So, yeah.
Beautiful. I can certainly relate. Okay, well, thank you for all of that. And yeah, I am actually really looking forward to hearing you read your chapter. Thank you. Get your drink, take a
All
seat.
right, thank you.
And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you start reading your chapter. So take it away.
All right, thank you so much. So yes, no more cringing in the mirror. What skin cancer taught me about self-love. I hold a little black mass, which I saved as if it were a precious gem between my fingers. What if I actually healed my skin, Doc? I show it to her. Oh, no, that's not possible, she replies with a dismissive tone. It's not very conspicuous, she continues, looking through her dermatoscope, her face so close to mine I can smell berries and yogurt in her breath behind her mask. But we have to remove a margin of error, as there could be more cancerous cells beneath it. I breathe into my belly. My gut says no. But the fear of what if is strong. I have to be responsible. My body feels heavy in the surgical chair. My mind wanders off, thinking of how perfectly healed that spot now looks. And I want to say, stop, just give me some time to think, as I feel the blunted sensation of her scalpel digging into my cheek. I wince as I hear the sound of being cut into, even though I feel no pain. After it's done, the swelling starts to close my right eye, and I approach the mirror with tentative curiosity. What have I done? Walking to the surgeon's office, feeling the sunshine on my face and arms, I was in a deep state of gratitude, restricted only by the fear of what would happen. I was in Copenhagen, a place I imagined visiting for many years. It was like being in a vibrant dream, the shades of green in the arborized streets, the blue hues on the water's edge, and the bright red train that got me there. This appointment was my reality pinch. After the procedure, I walked outside again, this time feeling a thumping sensation in my face with every step. I hold tears back as I try to reconnect with that gratitude from earlier. Should I have waited? I didn't need to do anything I wasn't fully ready for. Maybe one is never ready for this kind of thing. I can't help but feel violated. What if my practices healed my cheek, and now we disturbed the skin that had just healed? I was fine, and now this wound, this swelling, this pain. I reach the fortress where I'm meeting my husband and son. The irony is not lost on me. I feel the opposite of a fortress right now. Are you okay? My husband's warm embrace opens the gate for the grief inside, and I cry in his arms, feeling both a sense of relief and loss, and so much doubt. I heard someone say that when the grief train arrives, it brings all its cars. This moment felt like that. That small surgery and the cancer that had made it necessary were only the top layer and the well of grief beneath it. We'd sold everything, our house, our 2 cars, most of our furniture. We knew we wanted to explore the world, and 2019 was the right time to do it. And in retrospect, I'm thankful we did it before COVID. We left for 6 months to figure out where we belonged. We had been happily settled in Northern California until 2017, when our town was the site of one of the worst wildfires in the state's history. After waking up at 3 a.m. with a knock on our door, our neighbor urging us to evacuate, I step outside to see a red glow over the town. We have to get out of here. My husband urges me to breathe a 4-3-7 breath. I can't stop and breathe. I must act. I resist at first. Why am I choosing to panic? His embrace reminds me I can do this better if I'm calm and present. I inhale for a count of 4, hold my breath for a count of 3, and exhale for a count of 7. I breathe like this one more time and then sprint into action. I'm not calm, but I notice how even that quick pause improves my ability to be present. My 3-year-old son is sleeping peacefully, and I manage to pick him up from his crib and put him in his car seat without waking him. The air is heavy with smoke, and I lift my shirt. My shirt's collared to my face, using it as a mask. Passports, clothes, computers, we pack all we can into our truck and drive away. I say goodbye to my house, not knowing if I'll ever return to it. At that moment, I knew living in California was no longer viable for our family. We were one of the lucky ones. Our house was still there to welcome us back. Even so, 20 months later, we began a process that culminated into moving to the Berkshires, Massachusetts, after considering a few countries in Europe. The start of this new chapter was a dream come true. My husband and I spoke at a conference in Italy and events in Norway, Portugal, and Scotland, presenting the work we developed by merging my field of holistic nutrition with his of somatic psychotherapy. Optimizing your diet, your daily intake of everything, was the theme we were teaching. And it was the perfect vehicle to travel and work while also considering a new home. Within the context of our work, we were acutely aware of what we were taking in: nourishment, activity, media, thoughts, nature, at each place we considered. At the end of the trip, we realized we wanted to be in the US, closer to family and friends, and more able to continue our work where we thought people would benefit the most. It felt too hard to be so far away from the community we loved. It would be hard enough being on the other coast. Moving to another country lost its appeal. Exciting as this new chapter was, I could no longer ignore the doubts surrounding leaving our home and our community. All my grief cars were pulling into the station. Before leaving California, a mole on my cheek got scraped off and sent to pathology. "You're gonna get skin cancer." My mother's words echoed in my head as the dermatologist called me the day before I boarded the plane to tell me that it was cancerous. "Squamous cell carcinoma," she says. "If you're going to have cancer, this is the best one to have." Somehow that was supposed to make me feel better. "I'm leaving for 6 months," I reply. To my surprise, she said, "Return to us immediately when you get back." It mustn't be so bad. They're not asking me to cancel the trip. I wouldn't anyway. Since the mole had been scraped off, there was nothing visually reminding me of its importance. So I put the whole thing in one of those little boxes inside the attic of my mind where the uncomfortable things are. 10 days into the trip of a lifetime, a brown, then reddish, then black mole quickly grows on that same spot. It's undeniably cancerous. cells multiplying with no function or purpose, right in the middle of my face. Every time I saw a mirror, I cringed. Whenever I saw a photo of myself, I felt a heaviness in my heart, and then my mind took over. This looks so ugly. What could this mean? Are there more? Am I being punished for something? Maybe my life is too good right now. I should give my time and money to those in need, not enjoying a European trip. Who do I think I am? Is there a wicked power trying to show me some inner ugliness I have not yet acknowledged? As a pale, blonde girl, growing up in Brazil was a challenge when it came to enjoying the beach. In my teens, I wanted so badly to have a golden tan like my friends. Galega or Branquela were names people called me for being so white. I was the fish out of water on that tiny bikini-lined coastline. No matter what I put on my skin, or if I didn't put anything at all, I would not tan. I instead got red. And on too many occasions was so sunburned, I had blisters. A couple of times it got so bad I barely slept, keeping my arms and legs strategically propped up so they wouldn't rub against the bed. My mother understandably got worried, scared, mad, and blurted out, "You have to protect yourself from the sun or you're gonna get skin cancer." 30 years later, she was right. Some part of me, some of my cells believed my mother. What could happen if I turned that belief around? What if there was enough beauty, love, light, and power within me to help reverse and even heal this process? Could I trust and practice all the holistic approaches I had studied? As a holistic nutritionist, my work is founded on the principle of including one's entire experience and transforming beliefs, thoughts, and habits to achieve well-being. I believed in my healing capacity, but I wasn't sure where to start. Changing my diet even more wasn't going to do it. Losing my dad to cancer 6 years prior to Squeamy, the loving name I gave the growth on my face, motivated me to learn everything I could about nutrition for cancer prevention. This led me to work with cancer patients at Series Community Project. And while there, I read an article about a pediatric oncologist who asked his patients to visualize a powerful, bright light from within them, much like a lightsaber, beaming directly into the spot where the cancer was. He credited his high success rate to the children doing this work from the inside out. One day, looking at the mirror with that familiar expression of disgust toward my face, something inside me asked me to step up, reminding me of that article. Include this. Yes, the cancerous mole. You are as you are in this moment. Love it all. Beam some light into it. Where is your inner lightsaber? Turn toward yourself. This is what stepping up looked like to me. I spent a few minutes every day practicing a beam of light breath and sending it to my cheek. And I showed myself love and respect whenever my reflection greeted me in the mirror. Old habits die hard, and showing love in the mirror took some getting used to. My habitual narrative of, your eyes look puffy, your nose is huge, oh no, that black thing is getting bigger and uglier, had to be intentionally replaced with, good morning, love. I'm here for you. We can do this. You look lovely. Your skin is healing. When I caught my reflection with a look of disdain, I made myself return to the mirror with a loving look instead. It took diligence. 10 days after committing to these two practices, Squeamy popped off into my fingers with the gentlest pull. A month later, I had the margin of error surgery. Turns out I was right. the entire sample my Danish doctor removed was 100% clear. Squeamy might have been the manifestation of my grief. Holding it with kindness allowed me to transform the mindset of this is happening to me into this is happening for me. I learned to take better care of my skin and made a healing pact with the sun, being smarter about when and how I enjoy its rays. I am actively rewriting the beliefs my cells held for so long. Your skin is healing every day. You take good care of yourself. I also learned from Squeamy that I could combine both a conventional medicine approach with my inner healing strength. I wasn't powerless, and help was welcome. I began to advocate for myself, taking steps that felt grounded both in science and within my body, mind, spirit. Over the last 2 years, I had 6 other skin cancers removed surgically, basal cell carcinomas, 1 superficial melanoma. This was new territory. There were no moles to pop out. I went into these surgeries with a very different attitude. I felt more resolved and not so afraid, and I beamed my light at each spot before, during, and after surgery. You don't scar very well, my dermatologist tells me. I imagine myself erasing his words as if he'd written them on a dry erase board. I wish my cells hadn't heard that. Neither good nor bad, these scars are part of my experience. I display on my shoulders, back, and chest the prominent reminder of my healing. And despite their pink, rugged appearance, I healed fast. I accompanied the process with awe for my body's ability to heal. Between greeting myself with love when I see my reflection and focusing my breath into a beam of light towards areas that need healing, I found a way to feel empowered, confident, and engaged with my body and health in a more meaningful way. It takes constant active training. I'm trying on a bathing suit and I look at the flash around the bra line on my back. What kind of exercise are you going to do to get rid of that flabby skin? Oof, deep breath. You are aging gracefully. I'm here for you, wise body of mine. The new narrative comes in a bit quicker. The microaggressions of the critic in the mirror have become less effective. Some days she doesn't even try. Body image has nothing to do with what we see in the mirror. It's how we feel inside. Working with women of all ages, shapes, and sizes, including models, has taught me that. My journey with skin cancer has made me painfully aware of it. Self-love is now an integral part of my daily intake of everything. The fires in California kickstarted a chain of events that forced transformation in my life, leaving a beloved community, stepping into the unknown by traveling a new continent with my husband and 5-year-old son, moving across the country, leaving a teaching position, starting my practice over again in a new town. This would have felt completely overwhelming had I not embraced the beautiful, vulnerable, perfectly imperfect woman in the mirror. Being hostile with ourselves does not facilitate well-being, and it most certainly does not foster love and beauty. When we use our energy for beaming our light, rather than running the incessant mill of critical thoughts, we cultivate the kind of love we need to heal and overcome any challenge. Are you ready to beam love at the mirror and within yourself? And now I'm going to move into some of the practices. There are 2 of them. Finding love in the mirror. Notice the thoughts that pop into your head when you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror. The habitual thoughts usually stem from your beliefs, and yet you can upgrade your thoughts to reshape these deep beliefs. Do you smile at your reflection? Do you feel warmth and contentment? Or do you wince, cringe, or perform any of the not so subtle self-aggressions women have been taught? A quiet ugh of dissatisfaction, disgust, or shame. Notice your response without judgment. Then do a double take. Return to the mirror with a compassionate message. I love you. I'm here for you. You look lovely today. Those eyes shine. You are love. Replace any inflammatory narrative with one of these sentences or create your own love notes. If you need a reminder, put some post-it notes on your mirror at home to inspire a consistent practice. Consistency creates transformation. It may feel inauthentic at first, but in time, this caring way of seeing yourself will transform your beliefs and clear the way for your energy to go into healing and living more fully. And then take this love a little further. Practice 2, the beam of light. When a specific area of your body needs extra love, take a few minutes to sit quietly and focus on your healing intention. Take deep breaths through your nostrils into your belly. Reaching the belly is key to connecting with your inner landscape and feeling more present. As you breathe, become aware of all the life within you, all the cells in your body, all the microorganisms that protect you, and all the DNA carrying wisdom from your ancestors. Breathe into this awareness. Next, become aware of the space around you, the air, the walls, the space outside your room, and the natural world around it. Then give the air you breathe a color or quality of light, and increase this light's potency inside your belly with each inhale. And when you reach a brightness that feels sufficient, beam this light in one steady stream into the part of your body that needs it most. See in your mind's eye this light washing over and cleansing that spot, freeing it from anything that ails it. You can beam this light with your breath for as long as you wish. When you feel complete, thank your cells. Thank the life within you, the wisdom from your ancestors, and the intelligence in your soul for helping you heal. Thank you.
Is that your chapter?
That is my chapter 19.
Awesome. Sorry. There we go. Thank you. That was actually beautiful. Very beautiful. You had me almost in tears a few times.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Me too.
So tell me, just now reading your chapter, how do you feel?
It's funny. Something was happening on my skin near the site of Screamy. When I was writing it, finishing it, in that kind of wrap phase of getting all the last details in your chapter. And it turns out it was just like a little, like a blackhead or a pimple or something. It was nothing, but I was like, gosh, am I thinking about this so much? Am I bringing it up so much? And now, like, here it is. And how do I feel about it now? Like, what if this is another one? How would I face it? And it turned out to be nothing. But I feel like I had found a certain piece about it that even if it was, I felt like I know what to do. Right. And if it doesn't work, I get help, or I can do both things at once. I know what to do and I can get help. And reading it now, and I just remembered that feeling of like, oh, what if this is happening again? I really do have a sense of trust in a way that I didn't have when I first encountered it, like when this was first happening in my life. So I have a lot of gratitude. I read this and I have gratitude for a sense of trust. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's just wow. Okay. Is there any last thing that you would like to say to the listeners? Anyone who's tuning in to the live or the replay? Anything you want to say?
I think just this notion of connecting with ourselves on a daily basis. Life is so busy. And I know that with COVID, we had this chance of like doing things a little slower and differently. And I feel like right now, things feel almost more accelerated than they were before then. I think because I don't know, at least for me, it feels a little bit like catching up, making up for time that things were slower. And I don't want to lose this connection and the spending of time, whether it's mirror work. And I actually, I've been doing this now for a few years, and I went back and got a Louise Hay book on mirror work. I'm like, I need to even go deeper. Like I want to study this further because there's obviously something so powerful in this. That I just want to invite anybody listening to take a moment, even if it's 5 minutes of your day, to just be with yourself. For some people that may be meditation, a walk outside. There's so many ways to do it. And I just want to invite that it's something where you can really connect with your essence, so that it isn't like not a yoga class or something where there's a lot of external input, but just a place to be where you can just really connect with, because I believe all of us have this deep love inside. We're all born of love, and it's love. And just making a little time to connect and remind ourselves of that can have a really powerful effect on every aspect of our lives. That's it.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us here today on Brave's, excuse me, with Brave Storytime and Thais Harris. Thank you, Thais.
Thank you so much.
For your wonderful gift to the world. And everyone, we will see you next time, next Brave Storytime. And happy holidays.
Bye.